This podcast is rated PG-13. Parents strongly cautioned. Some material may be inappropriate for children under 13.
Mission 215.
Welcome to the Mission 250 Filmcast, where we are watching every movie on the top 250 movies of all time list according to IMDb. This week we are watching the 2015 movie The Martian, directed by Ridley Scott. The synopsis of this movie is: an astronaut becomes stranded on Mars after his team assumes him dead and must rely on his ingenuity to find a way to signal Earth that he is alive. I am one of your hosts, Denny, and my other hosts are
John
and TC.
And this week, it is my turn to go first. I had seen this movie before in the theaters. I saw it in 3D, and the special effects are pretty awesome. After learning a bunch about this movie, I've realized how much of it was not CG, even though it kind of looks CG all the way through, which is kind of weird, but it still looked pretty detailed. Acting was great throughout. I can't think of a better person to do this movie than Matt Damon. I wasn't a huge fan of the humor in this movie. I guess that's my biggest sticking point, and it's a pretty big part of the movie. What did you guys think about did the humor get you?
We'll give our general impressions first. Do you want to do that first? It seems like we're getting specific. So overall, you just liked the film. The humor didn't quite work for you.
Yeah, I mean, some of the drama moments were really affecting, but then it kind of kicked me out. Some of the stuff happened. Like I was continually drawn out of the movie, I guess, but a lot of it was pretty awesome. So yeah, I don't know. I really enjoyed it, but some of it didn't work for me, pretty much.
Okay.
Who wants to go second?
Go ahead, John.
Okay. Well, I really liked it. This is a movie sort of championing science and solving problems, and it's just again, I'm totally sold on the message. So I'm very happy to enthusiastically go along with the film. It takes its time, and it's actually fine. Like it's a long movie. Well, I mean, that compared to what we've listened to lately, it's not that long. But
yeah.
But again, it's like what, 2 hours and 20 or something like that.
Yeah,
something like that. Yep.
So
it's a long blockbuster for a blockbuster movie.
Yeah, and they really like let a lot of things play out that they might not normally have done. Like the whole where they are trying to launch that initial probe and it blows up. They could have like cut all of that out if they wanted to streamline this film, and they didn't. Yeah. And I think everything they left in was pretty interesting, and the movie let it, like, again, I really liked how the movie took it makes me feel like there's some really good directing going on if a movie takes its time and I don't care. Like it's not bothering me.
Yeah.
So I really like that about the film.
No naps. No naps.
No naps.
That's good.
No naps.
Yeah, and again, I don't know the humor. I don't know. I mean, a lot of the. I mean, I guess that'll be one big topic to talk about. You know, I didn't quite get it, but I don't know if that's. I mean, I see what they were trying to do, and it didn't always work. But I don't know if that's like if a lot of the humor is just watching Matt making jokes to the camera. Mm-hmm. That's like 80% of the whole film is 80 to 90% Matt Damon doing things.
Yeah.
So I thought the crew dynamic stuff was pretty cool. Well, the one downside for me is I didn't like it when the captain first was saying, this is my fault, I left him there. She was just not being a captain at that point, like early on. She was later. She was being a lot more like, the commander. She was like, reassuring people and telling them what was going on. Like if you're a good commander, you wouldn't sit there in front of your crew and say, this is all my fault, and sort of be, sort of have your own little pity party in front of your crew.
Yeah.
That didn't seem like her character even. That was the part where I felt kind of jerked out of the movie. I felt like they were like, they could have done that without her saying it. She didn't have to say it. Mm-hmm. She feels
could
responsible.
Have acted it.
Yeah. You don't need to say it that she feels responsible, and that was one sort of like jerky part for me. But otherwise, I did like that they really showed the camaraderie, and they were just making fun of each other, and I thought that was pretty good. I don't know if that was some of that humor was part of what you're talking about, Denny. I actually liked that part of it.
Included in that. We can go into detail afterwards, but
But again, this is like a movie I'd want, like,
Yes.
I'd want my daughter to see this and as soon as
How
she
old?
could because of the lesson. I would give her 8.
8.
I'd shoot for 8, I think.
Wow.
Okay.
It's a good family movie if you're,
But I mean, there's scary parts for sure. But
We can talk
But
about
just-
the rating too, because it breaks a couple of rules, and because of that, we get to break our own rules here too. But
interesting. Okay. Well, you should. What's that up front? What's that? What can we do then?
we can say the F word twice.
Ooh,
Twice.
2 times. 2 times.
Right.
yeah.
Okay. Astronauts get special.
Apparently, if you're
Yeah.
cursing at a planet, I guess it merits a second curse
Doesn't
word.
matter.
Yeah.
Because you're already successful, so you can get a couple in.
That's planetist. Planicist.
You can't say that on Earth, but you can say it on Mars.
What is that?
What is that?
International waters.
It's planicist. These people are planicists. Anyway, I'm sorry, I made up a word and I'm very proud of myself. So anyway, yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed the movie and for it, like I said, it really speaks volumes that I think it was great directing. Ridley Scott was like 75 or so
Yeah.
when he made this,
Wow.
which is damn impressive.
I know, huh?
Still going strong.
So, yeah, I mean, I thought it was like, again, I think that speaks to the director when the movie can like do so much and take so long, but I still like it. You know, it's I'm not like annoyed by it.
Yeah. And also, is this the first time you'd seen this movie?
No, this was the second time.
Yeah,
Although I drank too much the first time and fallen asleep, I think. So more passed out, I think. So I don't think you could call that old man falling asleep. That's young man falling asleep.
That's just normal drunkenness.
Yeah, when you pass out, that's a young man thing, right, guys?
Yeah, right. Sure,
Okay.
sure.
Yeah,
Sure,
all right,
sure.
that's right. It's me being wild and crazy on the couch, not moving.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, so, and I thought, and also normally like I get bored with action stuff. And I think that was also the action scenes of this movie were amazing. And I really liked it. And also the other thing I really liked about this movie was there was no villain.
The weather.
Yeah, it was the
the
planet,
weather.
right? But I think because I think doing a good villain's really hard and it really feels annoying usually because it's like you're gonna hate this guy, aren't you? Don't you hate him? Don't you hate him now? And it always in any action movie is kind of annoying. And this one where it's just the planet, I think it's a big challenge to keep you involved and interested. You're pretty sure he's not going to die. I mean, because then it's like, and then he died. Movie's over. But you still had to build tension somehow, and it felt that way. I was pretty interested.
Huh.
So that's my spiel.
TC.
I mean, you guys pretty much nailed it. I liked it a lot. I've seen it before. Characters are great. Character arcs are great. The humor, I understand, Denny. I do get it. I think some of the worst jokes in there was him talking to himself.
Yeah.
But then I also think he's by himself, so he's got no one to be like, dude, shut up.
And actually, I think that his humor makes sense. The reason I don't like the humor is because I feel like everybody is quippy. Like
they are.
Everybody in the movie is funny. Like what?
Oh,
no,
yeah.
they're all scientists and like.
There's no
I
way
see.
they're all funny.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying.
It just
Yeah.
like if he was the only funny one, that would be great because it's like, hey, this one guy is using
Right.
sarcasm to cope with what he has, and since it's mostly him in the movie, it kind of makes sense until they cut back to Earth or they cut back to the spaceship and everybody is
Everybody
being
else is
sarcastic.
quick. Yeah.
So you're saying they're pulling a Guardians of the Galaxy
Yes,
sort of thing.
pretty
where
much
you're getting
the same
that
thing.
sort of Guardians feel.
I mean, I did like this
didn't-
movie a lot more than Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah,
but
yeah, the
that part
content was-
I didn't like in the same way. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't get that as much. I mean, you could argue that the humor part for Matt, that's on him, right? I mean, it's just him to act at that point. And so he's, your point is like, is he doing this because it's his character? Or is he doing it because, the writers think the audience will find this entertaining, right? That's the Guardians thing, right?
Well, I think so. For his character, I think the author, I think the book author gets most of the credit for his quippiness.
Yeah.
It makes sense for him just because he doesn't start off being funny immediately. He kind of builds into it more and more. It seems, I don't know, because like the first few minutes with him, he's not funny because he's dying, but like he's dying the entire movie,
Right.
And like at the end too, like he faces when he's being blasted into whatever atmosphere Mars has, he jumps back. I guess he says some funny things, but he's dealing with it in a different way, I guess. So that kind of has the character arc piece in there, but
Well,
he makes
and
sense.
I think it makes sense. I thought the crew stuff makes sense because that's that's like brothers. That's like that's how you talk to each other. You don't say "I love you." You just make fun of each other.
No, that scene also.
That,
where,
you didn't buy that?
No, like with the first scene, they're talking to him through the computer, and Michael Pena's character is just like ripping on him. No, like you realize your friend is alive. That's not the way you would talk to them. At least I would think so. I don't buy that type of stuff.
Yeah, I've known people that do that.
Really?
I mean, that's yeah.
I joke around about pretty horrible things, but if something that serious happened, I would joking would not be happening. You would be like,
right.
You'd
At least
be
get
happy.
one serious statement.
I know you might argue there that they are trying to capture maybe more of the engineer scientist mindset, where you might not be too comfortable speaking directly about emotions, and so one way that you deal with is you just make fun of each other. I mean, I've done that in bands. I mean, with like when I'm close to other guys we don't really know how to express that kind of thing.
It's like the guy almost dies from a heroin overdose, and you're like, "Hey, idiot, why'd you do that?" Shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Really?
Right. I mean, no,
what kind
that's
of
it.
shithead are you?
Yeah.
What do you want? What do you want to get all like tender moment sort of thing? No.
Be like, hey, dude, I don't want to draw
this.
this out, but I just want to let you know that I feel for you, and if you need to talk or whatever, let me know. Something like that. I don't know.
Sensitive Danny.
Yeah,
Sensitive
sensitive,
Danny.
soft Danny.
No, I'm a normal person.
Yes. No,
I'm not a cartoon
no.
character in a movie.
I'm surprised. It's hard for some people to admit emotions like that. It is hard.
So I agree with that, but my argument is that everybody in this movie does that. Everyone, they're trying to save a life. They're doing something that's never been done before. It's a very serious situation, and everybody's making jokes the entire time.
Yeah.
So, this movie was very popular. It won Best Comedy at the Golden Globes, which we can talk about later. But I mean,
that's weird.
Comedy?
Yeah,
That's
Best
weird.
Comedy.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah, and they changed the rules because of it to what could be considered a comedy. But yeah, I mean, that
doesn't make any sense.
That's just the one part that throughout the movie didn't work.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I can see that kind of thing going on. I think it's what I don't think they really portrayed very well was how much like stress these people really were under. I don't think.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
that's what you guys are both saying, right?
Yeah.
Too. Like maybe the humor.
And they're always
would have
like
been,
made up too. Like the commander's always got her lipstick on and stuff when she's delivering her lines, and it's like they've been up there for years, not putting on makeup.
Well, but I mean, I think that's a good point. Like maybe the quips would have been okay and whatever, but if they would have they didn't really, the camera never, or the movie never really let you see. You saw Matt suffering, and maybe that's why, Denny, you went along with him better too in terms of his quips, because you also saw that his range. You saw how much it was hurting him, and he let you see that. And
I mean, they probably when they were writing it, were trying to keep it light with the story being so sensitive.
Right. So they didn't want it to get too
dark,
yeah.
The author said that he was writing it, and he's kind of a what do you call it, like a nuts and bolts kind of guy, and he was pretty much looking to write a novel that just explicitly stated how you would fix every problem you would need to fix to survive on Mars. And the only solution he had to make that not extremely boring was to put humor throughout the entire book.
Humor.
Right.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah. I agree with and I agree. I just think it was overdone. And I didn't read the book.
Yeah, or it wasn't balanced.
Right.
It's like maybe it would have worked if you could have seen more of the again, just seeing the crew more concerned or more serious sides of things, or same thing with the ground crew. I don't know. I mean, I think it's a good point. It's a fair enough point. Where you're so interested in what's going on. It's just kind of, at least for me, then it's just a lot of that slides, I guess. But I didn't necessarily find it funny either. The sort of quippy parts.
Yeah, and I guess again, really, let's get into positive stuff after this, but I just want to say one more thing that, like, this is Ridley Scott. He did Blade Runner and Alien. He's like one of the best science fiction directors because of those two movies alone of all time. And this movie, I thought, came really close to joining those movies. It could have been if he took it a little, and maybe it's just my taste. If he took it a little more seriously, it would have not seemed so much like a joke, popcorn type of movie.
Yeah, and also though, I mean, the message in this movie is so good that I'm okay if it reaches more. And this is like sort of me going against principle, I guess, in a way. But I'm okay with that if it helps this get out to more people, so that this film is more enjoyable for a general audience, and you still have this message of solving difficult problems, working hard, and having science do amazing, spectacular things, but also like this sort of human spirit of exploration and adventure and not giving up.
Mhm.
I think those are like some of the most honorable sorts of things as far as to put in a movie. So
Right.
I don't know. So I totally see your point. But I also felt like this movie is very watchable and rewatchable.
Extremely.
Very
Yes.
watchable. It's absolutely.
Yeah.
And the science is interesting, and even though I don't understand any of it, it seems cool.
But the lighthearted tone might make it a lot more digestible. And just like the author was doing too, right? Because they were just trying to make this film still be entertaining, even though it had this very like technical, complex things. I was really impressed. I had read like most of the book, and the book itself is still pretty dry.
Really?
Yeah. But it's pretty
So you thought
cool.
Matt
Now
Damon brought a lot to the table?
He always does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you think of another actor that could have done this movie? Because I
think
can't.
Brad Pitt would have probably done a good job.
You think?
Yeah.
He's not very funny, is he?
I think Robert Downey Jr.
Robert Downey Jr.
Iron
maybe.
Man.
If he took his Iron Man character and did it, yeah. But he couldn't do it now.
No, I know. That's why he probably couldn't have done it. Or he probably needed to be a little younger. I don't know. But I think he would have been able to do a really good job with it. I think someone like Ryan Gosling could have done something. I mean, we've got a lot of really talented actors that you could imagine just doing a really good
they've
job.
kind of done single roles too. Like Ryan Gosling's done that kind of movie where it's him.
Right.
He's
That's true, yeah.
He's it.
Yeah, he's done it a lot. Yeah, and like he's been able to do. I don't know if he hasn't quite done like the sort of comedy type stuff. Actually, I think John Cusack would have been really good too.
Really, John Cusack? Huh?
Yeah, but
Maybe
he would have
back in
to
the
probably
90s.
he'd have to he'd have to get in shape.
Gross Point Blank Cusack.
Yeah. We're talking
I think he could have done he would have done a really good job because he does a great job of having characters that are like wry but also like thinking.
And he does talk to himself a lot in his movies.
Yeah.
He's good at the monologues.
He's probably too old, but anyway, I imagine there are a number of just good actors that could pull this off.
But Matt Damon did a great job.
But I think he
as always.
So he wanted to be this kind of cocky but also sort of introverted guy, I guess, who sort of like he sort of awakens more and becomes he becomes a stronger personality, I guess, maybe throughout this whole experience. That's kind of the arc for him, right?
Is it introverted?
Well, I don't know if he's or shy or just nerdy or whatever, where he just becomes, but he also becomes like, and again, I don't know, we don't know who he was before this happened.
Yeah.
Right.
So I guess that makes it a little harder because like, I don't know if he was kind of cocky or if that's something that he just sort of like embraced to help him get through this shit.
He's at the very least a surgeon for some reason.
Oh, right. Because at the beginning when he like puts himself back together.
Yeah. I mean, you got to know some stuff to be able to do that, I would assume.
I know, right?
I imagine as an astronaut, though, you have basic training like that.
A little bit.
Like you need to know how to dress wounds and things like that.
And stuff. Yeah, because who else is going to do it up there if someone gets extremely hurt?
Good point.
Yeah. You don't have a staff doctor anyway, and then what if something happened to the doctor? So
don't you have a staff doctor? If you're going to Mars?
They probably do have a staff doctor, I would think. Right?
You
One
might
of them
have.
that's a doctor.
I think the good-looking guy was the doctor.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Do you know which one I'm talking about?
No.
The one that that Kate Mara kisses in the helmet before he's about to go spacewalk without the tether.
I got you. Okay.
Oh, right.
That dude.
Right. That guy. They loved each other. That was an interesting little tidbit.
Yeah, that was a little weird.
Yeah, came out of nowhere and like didn't really.
And I don't know. Again, we can say the humor was one thing, but it might be around like if you might have to figure out some way to keep it light, but still show emotions if you're spending months and months and months with somebody.
Yeah.
And maybe that's like not a bad strategy for like surviving that much time with a group of people. Just kind of keep it light. And even if you're expressing heavy emotions, you keep it, you don't go there because that takes a lot of energy or that, then that can lead to deeper places. And that's not something that you can have happen.
While you're out there in space.
Yeah. So again, maybe that's putting too much after the fact, sort of trying to explain it, but that's a possibility that doesn't, the ground crew is different. But I mean, I know that when you're in stressful situations all the time, and that's part of your job, you end up using a lot of off the cuff sarcastic humor. Like when I was doing like trauma hospital stuff, and we had a whole team that we worked with. We made fun of everybody all the time, the patients and ourselves and each other. And we constantly
in front of the patients?
No.
You make fun of them to their faces?
No. But we were constantly cracking stupid jokes.
Right.
And what we
just
were
to
doing,
keep it kind of, you're avoiding the reality of it.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is, I think. And so I again, I don't know if, again, this is maybe more explanation after the fact, but maybe they're trying to portray sort of that side of it in a way. Because that's how you can't, if you're trying to solve problems and you have a job to do, you can't sit there and be that serious. You can't.
No,
and you're just like, and that's
like,
yeah,
I'm gonna
you can't
die.
just be like,
I can't think about anything else.
Or yeah, and you can't even be like, that's why it's sort of like, that's where it felt weird that the captain's sitting there going, this is my fault. I let him, he's just sitting there just talking, doing nothing, but just saying these things. That seems out of character compared to the way they were otherwise.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but it's that's maybe after the fact explanations. But
let's get positive for a minute, or I don't know.
Right.
Positivity is good. Well, actually, I don't know if this is positive or negative, but this movie's rated PG-13, and I thought the surgery scene in the beginning by itself would merit an R rating. It was hard to watch.
It was. I didn't watch.
Hard to watch.
I
You're
did
right.
not. I held on to the dog and looked away.
Really?
Yeah,
Really?
I was.
Yeah.
I didn't like it.
I was watching. I was like, wait, so what's he doing?
He has like an EpiPen thing where he's like numbs himself, I assume.
Yeah,
And the blood's squirting out.
Stable.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I think like self-surgery, maybe that's why it's not like violent necessarily, because it's not like it's not like he's being stabbed or anything. It's more like almost like a medical show or something, right?
Yeah, but medical shows should be R-rated, shouldn't they? The more
I don't
graphic it is, like the worse it is.
No. I don't know, but it's not it's again, and Matt, that's where he does a great job of like really conveying this, all the while he's got to be doing something. That would be tough. He's like, doing all the deep breathing and showing like an amazing amount of pain.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was he even considered for best actor or no? He wasn't.
Yeah,
even
he
considered.
was.
Oh, he
Oh,
was.
he was.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, at least he got the nomination.
Yeah, he was. So there was 5 people, and all other 4 people were playing somebody that existed. They were in biopics, and then it was Matt
Right.
Damon.
Oh.
Who
Which is
won
kind of
that
funny.
year?
I don't know. I'd have to check.
Okay.
I could do that. Do you want to kind of walk through? I got a couple of things I have questions on throughout the movie.
Sure.
Go for it.
The potato farm stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you guys hear about that? Did you hear
What do you
any?
mean?
There was a lot of rumors when this movie first came out that there's no way you could grow potatoes on Mars.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought, at least again, reading the book, this guy heavily researched his stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I didn't have time to do a whole lot of history research on the film, like
Yeah,
none
me
at
either.
all. So, but I mean, I tend to take most of what he was saying just as, all right, probably. I'm sure this guy thought a lot more about it than I did.
So the storm in the beginning of the movie is pretty much the only thing everyone agrees is that's like not possible.
oh, really?
The force of the wind, since the atmosphere is like 1% of Earth's atmosphere, an 100-mile-an-hour wind would be, equivalent to a light breeze. So
Oh, really?
pretty much anything that happened in terms of windiness wouldn't affect anything. And the reason he kept it in the book, even though he knew that wasn't accurate, was because he couldn't figure out another interesting way for the main character to get, isolated on Mars by himself.
Huh.
Because I mean, yeah, that's a good point. Shoot.
So he
Damn,
kind of like,
that's-
he like
he's
took
like
one for
sitting
the
there
team.
trying to figure it out. Like, what else can I do? What else can I do? I mean,
Yeah, and even the screenwriter for the movie, who's a different person than wrote the book, he couldn't. He tried to figure out a different way and couldn't figure anything interesting out. He's like, screw it, we'll just do the storm. It'll look cool.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
Right.
again, at some point, yeah, you're probably just like, all right, yeah, we just got to make this happen. So let's move on. So you still have to make some decisions like that. Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's fine. I feel like, again,
I had no idea. So
yeah, well, it's
there you
also,
go.
it's again like this film does such a good job of sort of presenting the spirit of science that it's very easy to forget it. if it gets some things wrong, even because it's still like the underlying message about like how it works seems very authentic.
I kind of like it how crude they make it to be sometimes too.
Yeah, it's like So, but again, that doesn't necessarily forgive it in any whatever its like errors are. But
they did work very, very closely with NASA. Like all the designs of the ships and the gravity was supposed to be pretty accurate. The spinning spaceship, all that. Like
NASA had like a website dedicated to them or a web page where you could follow his progress,
really,
and things like that. Yeah, I think that even so they were kind of like on board and sort of helping, just sort of like helping promote the movie and things like that too.
I have a lot of negative stuff on my paper. I'm trying to avoid it. Just like questions I had when going through the movie. The line "science the shit out of this."
Yeah,
not a huge fan of that line.
Yeah,
that line was kind of lame.
Yeah,
that was kind of the problem with some of the jokes is they weren't clever. They were just kind of stupid.
Yeah,
like I try to picture the person I know that makes those kind of jokes. So I'm like, nah, I wouldn't be laughing.
Yeah,
I'd be like, you're an idiot.
But he's the funniest person on the planet.
But he's the only one talking. So yeah, and then you got to think about that, and you're like, well, I mean, whatever. It's the only one there, so
yeah,
right. You can't question him because he's the only one there. I mean, he's funny no matter what, right?
He can't get better because he has no critics.
Yeah. Right.
No one to build against.
There's no hope.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, that line just seems a little bit too much to like. Here's the theme of the movie, and here's like the tagline for the movie, right?
Self-referential joke.
Yeah.
But I just remember rolling my eyes. So I mean, that's the extent of it. Being like, oh, geez, and then right back into the movie and not caring.
Yeah, but that is kind of a nice thing about the movie is that again, I mean, you're saying a lot of negative things, but I don't think and I don't even know if you think this, Jenny, that it sticks. Like it doesn't ruin the movie or anything like that. Right?
I didn't think so either.
I mean, it doesn't ruin it. I mean, I still overall think positively of it, but it brings it down to a place where I'm upset that it does it. You know what I mean? It doesn't not affect it for me.
Yeah. Okay. For me, I was just kind of ignoring it, but also thinking at the same time, oh, that was lame.
Yeah.
You can write something better than that.
Yeah.
Then again,
I remember seeing some Reddit on this where somebody saw that was written on the top of the script of Ridley's script for the movie.
Science the shit out of this?
I'm going to science the shit out of this. Yeah.
Oh,
it was like
funny.
A big part in the preview. It was like the punchline. Like, Matt Damon's going to science the shit out of Mars.
Oh, he sure is. He's going to grow potatoes out of
potatoes. More food and poop. Got a lot of, themes so far.
Tons of themes.
But I also liked, I mean, the whole cast was very likable. I thought like Jeff Bridges' brother did a good job.
Donnie? I think his name is Donnie Bridges, right?
Is it really?
It's not. No, it's not.
No, I know.
What?
Donnie.
Yeah.
You had me going.
He's
Bridges.
He's
Jeff Daniels. Sorry, I'm Jeff Daniels.
I thought you were joking. Did you really not remember?
No, I was getting my famous last names confused.
Oh, okay.
Pardon me. Kristen Wiig did a great job as like in a non-comedy role.
She's my least favorite actor in this movie.
I mean, she was the weakest one.
Yeah.
I don't know if they gave her enough. All she was supposed to do was stand there and be incredulous.
Yeah,
like it just be annoyed or be like confused.
It's like,
be like, we can't say that. She was like the naysayer. That was her job. So
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, that's her gig. I don't know.
Flailing her arms around.
She just wasn't very good.
I really like Jessica Chastain aside from that one scene, and she's another two-time returnee to the Mission 250 podcast from our The Help.
From The Help.
She played the blonde bimbo there, didn't she?
She did. Vomity bimbo.
Yeah.
And also, this is the second Matt Damon in space movie that she stars in.
Really?
She is also in Interstellar, huh?
Yeah, she's in Interstellar, which we'll watch like 4 years into the future.
Yeah, right? Seriously.
Right, yeah.
And also Sean Bean in a role where he doesn't die horribly.
Yes. And they make a reference to Lord of the Rings as well when he's like in the room.
Right. That's actually pretty awesome. I like that. That was very science geeky that I actually thought that was fun. And again, I know I just want to like this movie, so I'm trying to make excuses, but like being like, this is how you can
I
deal
mean,
with
there's
a
no
stressful
reason not
situation.
to like this movie. You can just pick it apart a
But
little
they're
bit.
saying they are,
Yeah.
you can, and they're just quipping in there. But I thought that was a lot of fun. But he doesn't die horribly, but he does have to submit his resignation, which is kind of like career death,
Yeah,
So
but
it's
do you think he
Do you think
chose
he was
to
really
do
going to
it?
have to do that though?
But he did at
After
the
he
end.
got him back? Oh, he did.
I mean,
do we know?
you saw him like hitting a golf ball, right? Like he's
Oh,
retired.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
and I thought maybe he was just taking a break.
No, I think like at
You
the
know,
end,
but
it's kind of
that
like
makes more sense.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
it's-
makes more sense.
so he kept his word, even though like the unauthorized space mission was a huge success.
Right.
Then he still
Yeah.
had to resign, which sucked. Because I wrote down watching it again, I was like, when Jeff Daniels was saying like, "I'll expect your resignation after this is over," I was like, not if he's correct and everyone survives.
Yeah, seriously,
because he subverted command. I mean, he could not trust this guy again. I mean, you can't.
That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I thought, again, it wasn't like you can criticize me, but I thought it was really, they did an interesting job of trying to show both sides of this argument where you've got this, you can't necessarily risk a whole crew and a whole entire spaceship and everything just for one person.
Can you not? Let's talk
Mhm.
about that because I kind of sided
Well, it's
with
really interesting,
Jeff
yeah.
Bridges' point of view.
Daniels,
Um,
please.
Jeff Daniels.
Daniel.
Come on. I thought we were going to fuck up all the names of all the celebrities in all of our podcasts.
We do it every time anyway.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if we want to or not.
Well, if we do it intentionally, then at least.
Geoffrey Daniels over here.
Yeah. So, I mean, what did you guys think? I honestly kind of sided with, even though I understood, Sean Bean's motivation, I was like, well, Jeff Bridges makes more sense. Like he's thinking.
leave no man behind.
Yeah.
Get back out there and get him.
Yeah.
Screw the suit.
No, but I mean, you have to think about also like the funding in the future and like the
Right.
perspective
It's-
of NASA, like perception of the people for NASA.
Oh yeah, how much funding you gonna get if you let all
Right.
your astronauts go and they all die?
Right.
It doesn't. Either way, you're screwed. I'd gamble that.
Right, but how much money would you make then if like you sent them back and they do all die and you made that choice
Yeah,
to go try to save one and everybody else dies because of that?
yeah.
So
I don't know.
that's what he was weighing. I mean, he was like saying, "Look, we've got 5 that we know are alive. We're working on ways to get this guy back, but we can't risk the lives of 5 more people just on this off chance that this stuff will work." Which was it was a pretty improbable
Yeah.
thing that they had to do.
Right.
Like they made it very clear in the film that towards the end, they were pretty lucky that it worked.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, the crew I would think would want to go back.
Yeah, they
Right?
instantly wanted to. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but that's the point too. That's why Daniel's character was trying to also he wanted to control the situation, and he also knew that was a risk too. He wanted them to come back home safely and to concentrate only on that. He did not really want the crew to know because he knew that they would want to do something crazy, and so he was trying to prevent them from even knowing that he was alive. And I imagine his character would have preferred that. They never didn't even know that until they landed, because something like this could happen. And again, that's Sean Bean's character knew exactly what would happen when he transmits them the message. He knew exactly, and he was not willing to leave an astronaut behind. He didn't
No.
care.
He's
He
one
just-
of his boys. You know.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
didn't care, and he knew
Yeah.
that the crew. He was on the thinking of the feelings and the emotions of the crew, and he said he could not let. He knew they couldn't live with it very well. Like they would be pretty fucked up and miserable, particularly the commander. If they landed on Earth and knew that he was left alive, and that he slowly like starved to death or whatever, because all their other rescue attempts were failing.
Don't you think there'd be protocol they would set like in stone before going off on one of these missions for every type of scenario? One of which would be very easily this scenario.
Like the pirate code, so you got to follow these rules,
Parlay.
to
But they're
reference
more of
another
just
movie.
they're more of just a guideline, though.
Yeah. Well, no, I think that's an interesting point, Denny, where it's like kind of like a military situation. Like, look, this is your mission. This is what you got to do. This is these are the rules that you follow. And I imagine there's something like that in terms of that sort of thing. But we also we love these. We hear about this even in war stories and things like that. That there are people that don't, they risk. What is this? Was it Star Trek episode, the movie 4? The needs
idea.
The many outweigh the needs of the few, or the one.
No clue.
Never seen.
There was anyway.
Sorry,
never
John.
mind.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I've
that.
only seen the new ones. I've only seen the
That
JJ
gets us
ones.
nowhere. Okay, then. Never
That
mind.
gets us nowhere.
I do. Speaking of military, though, I came up with an alternate name for this movie.
Oh, yeah?
Okay,
Do you want
what's
to hear it?
that?
I might add reverb to this to add an effect to it, but it's gonna.
I don't know if we'll hear that or not.
Yeah, I don't know.
Saving Private Ryan in space.
Yeah, let's not do that. So wait, was Damon Private Ryan?
Yes, he
in
was.
Private Saving Private. Who was he? Was he Private Ryan?
He was.
Oh wow, yes.
Yes.
He's Private Ryan. Huh?
It's a good joke.
Bad delivery.
Yeah.
Absolutely good joke.
Yeah. I'll add the reverb, and people will be like, I don't know why they didn't cheer at that. That sounded fantastic.
We don't cheer. What do you want? What? Oh yeah.
Yay,
Sometimes-
Danny, you're so funny. You're so funny.
Well, we might laugh, but we don't cheer.
No, I was the best I was getting was what I got was just a disappointed laughing at me and not with me.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Typical.
Yeah.
Like, Danny.
Yeah. So, and also bringing the conversation to a complete halt.
Yes. Good job.
Yep.
Good job. Good job. Good job.
And
good
another
job.
part, so speaking of that, transitioning that, is one part that brought the movie to a complete halt for me was when Childish Gambino entered the movie about halfway through.
Yeah, that was weird, wasn't it? And he was acting all like weird scientist.
Yeah. Do you know who I'm talking about, John? Donald Glover?
Oh yeah. He's the whiz kid that's doing the math that nobody else is doing.
Yeah. And he was funny.
Yeah, he was the
such a genius
funniest.
that even he was funny.
Yeah, he was just, he's a stand-up comedian, so you hire
Right,
Kristen
I know,
Wiig, you hire
but-
him, you got comedians all over the place. I don't know. That part didn't do it so much for me.
Yeah, I like.
Hmm.
I mean, again, there's an aspect that they wanted that he's playing this role that happened. The young genius scientist who's thinking in ways that other people aren't thinking. Blah blah blah. So they're trying to capture that, right?
Right.
That's also part of science too. That you have people come along with new ideas and break new ground or whatever. Yeah, it was okay, but I didn't really buy. There wasn't much depth to his character, really.
Yeah, I mean, they could have just replaced him with someone coming up with an idea.
Yeah, seriously. He did
Yeah,
not have to be him. But that's
yeah.
okay.
Right? Yeah, that's fair enough.
I loved that scene where they hit the girl in the head with the pen.
Yeah, that was pretty
She's
funny.
Mars. I was laughing at that one. That was good. I don't know if I'm not sure that was in the script. Like, I feel like he might have just done that
Yeah.
on the shot or something. Like,
They're sort of like I liked how they did that, and then Jeff Daniels' character's like, "Get out."
yeah.
I thought it was.
Yeah.
I liked it. It just showed a little bit of the hierarchy, like so it was still kind of fun. And again, it's really strange how like one part of this movie is just really sort of lighthearted comedy if you just look at the interactions and the dialogue. It seems, which is really, again, it can be very jarring if you are thinking about this person's life in danger. But again, it would be interesting to see if you talk to some astronauts about and engineers that work on these things, like if that kind of just sort of general sarcasm is pretty common.
Yeah.
Because I know, like, I have some experience but it's still the
developers and stuff.
yeah, but we don't. I mean, like if our programs fail, like that means you get some 1-star reviews or the client's not happy or whatever. It's not like a life and death kind of thing, and it's not like
true.
it's also the other part about the life and death part is it's a huge public spectacle, right? So you screw up and the whole world like is going to like be hearing about this and mourning the loss of the lives that you might be responsible for.
That's a good point.
That's also like a really, it's a hard thing to imagine what that feels like.
Yeah. John, I had a
Yeah.
question for you being a coder. Possibly, I have this written down as my least favorite part of the movie. It was when Kate Mara's character was talking about, did they ask her, like, what would you need to do to override to break through and override the code from the spaceship on our trajectory and stuff? She's like, well, it'd be really hard. It's got 4 redundant computers, 3 redundant satellites that have to jump over the code. And they're like, enough gibberish. What is the answer? And she's like, I can do it.
I can do it.
And you're just,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, are you freaking kidding me?
Like, no, you can't.
Yeah, it's like you just said you couldn't do it, and then you said you could do it. Why did you say any
Right.
of the other stuff? And it seemed
She
made
was
up.
thinking it through.
Yeah.
That's all.
But were those
Yeah.
words gibberish coder words? Because they kind of sounded like it.
Well, I don't know. I don't know that stuff.
Can you
So-
jump over the code? What does that mean? Does that sound like something you can do? You can't jump over the code.
I mean, is it just mean to change it or alter it?
or bypass it? Like it's
Yeah.
like somehow it's like there's like some kind of entry point that where they do these checks, but maybe there's a way you can bypass it doing those checks at all or something.
Mm.
I don't know. I mean, again,
Backdoor.
Backdoor
yeah.
entry. Yeah. That's a good 90s hacker term.
Yeah.
They got some gates set up, but I'm going to go
Get in
through the back door.
mainframe. Gonna go hit the back door of the mainframe. We'll get in there.
My
I got
fa-
all those AOL emails.
yeah. 10 free hours. My favorite part. Guess what my favorite part was? It should be easy. You guys know me.
it involved the poop.
No. Close.
Oh, we'll see. I thought I
Favorite
knew.
part?
No, you. It might be hard because it's different than the entire song "Starman."
Oh yeah, that's a good spot.
You know, it's
That
like
was a
4
good part.
minutes. Just it's a montage of
David
like,
Bowie.
yeah,
Some
Yeah,
Bowie, Bowie.
that part was
Bowie to
awesome.
Bowie.
And again, this sort of like it shows the contrast of the sort of like tone of the movie, but the disco music throughout. But it worked. I actually thought it worked because that's all I had to listen to.
yeah. And similarly to Guardians of the Galaxy, it's like kind of the same reason the soundtrack is the way that it is.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if which one ripped that
Same
off
year.
first. Like The Martian was written in 2011. It was written then.
Well, the book. So really, did it come out in 2011? I guess because yeah, I couldn't really find dates
Yep.
because the guy wrote it like as a serial novel, I guess, on his
Right.
blog.
It just says 2011 on the wiki for the book. But yeah, so hard to say. So publication history, 2011 is all I can see here. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of information from commentary. I don't know if you guys want to say anything else about the movie itself. I mean, it's yeah. I'm surprised we actually stretched out the movie this long since it kind of, I don't know. It's kind of a shallow, deep movie at the same time in a weird way.
Yeah, it's a funny thing. Like I'm not sure if I can think of anything else that a movie would be about where I would be so on board with it. Where I'd be like, yeah, let's get this message out. Let's get people to see this message and as long as it's like done with a good hand or like with some degree of skill, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
So I don't think there'd be. So I feel a little embarrassed in the sense that it's like this is like for me like a propaganda film that I'm 100% behind.
You drank the Kool-Aid. You're in.
Yeah, exactly. So having said that, it's like you've got the science part, you've got Matt Damon, and then you've got the ground crew and you've got the space crew, and that's it. That's like the movie, right?
I mean, that's a lot. That's more than like, I mean, most movies are just the ground crew and that's the movie.
Right. That's true. But
Yeah,
in the
that's a good point.
sense, it's like done in a very, I don't know, it's not deep, I guess. Like,
Yeah.
It doesn't feel, and again, that might be why it works so well as a 2-hour plus movie that just keeps moving.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very possible.
Keeps on chugging along. And
I mean, the publishing
direction.
history on this is kind of cool. The story that he couldn't get it published, he was just doing it on the web and he got some encouragement. So he publishes it on Amazon and it becomes this huge bestseller. And I imagine it might be one of the first that was like straight, bestseller on Kindle from an unknown author. It may have been, it may not have been the first, but it really establishes this idea of self-publishing and not having like a publisher putting your stuff on Kindle, selling it for 99 cents. The book Wool is another sort of case of that too. I think that's going to end up being a series of movies too.
I think having a first line. So the first line of the book is, "I'm pretty much fucked."
Yeah.
So I mean, that's a good first line of a book.
It is a great first line of a book, especially where it's going to be such a technical book, and it starts off with that sort of like abruptness and crassness, but it's also then ends up being really technical.
Yeah. And I mean, those 4 words is like, from the title, it's about a guy on Mars. And then the first lines, you're like, oh, this guy's going to die. I want to find out how he's going to die.
yeah.
So like you're in for the book after 4 words.
Because the rest of the book is really, it's way technical, a lot, parts of it.
Yeah.
At least even for a science fiction book, it's like a hard science fiction book. yeah, so it's not the real core of the book is how he survives and how he like uses science to survive.
Yeah.
And that's pretty amazing.
If you were to guess what the production budget of this movie was, what would you guess?
I know it.
So TC,
I know it.
what-
I'm looking at it. I was looking at it like 2 seconds ago.
Well, to the listener, it's $108 million, which is it's a lot, but it's not as much.
No, I would have guessed higher. You've got a lot of big name stars. You've got a lot of special effects. You've got
Set
a lot
extensions
of
and
they
you've
built a
got
lot of sets.
consultants, and I don't know what else you need, but this is like a pretty hardcore space film. So yeah, I would
and
think
it seems
that it
like
would have been a
space
lot
films
more.
are expensive as hell.
Yeah, I
anyway.
would have thought so. Yeah,
It'd be the most expensive, I would think. I don't know.
I mean,
Right,
you could have
right,
made
absolutely.
like 2 Guardians of the Galaxies, right? And
Yeah.
2 and then some, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
and then some, yeah. And it made $630 million worldwide. So Prometheus 2 is going to have a pretty large budget, I assume.
Wow.
Right. That's going to be more a straight aliens origin film, apparently.
You hope.
I hope.
Yeah. I think everybody hopes that. And I hope.
I know everybody hopes
Ridley
because
Scott
Prometheus was
knows that.
weird.
Yeah, it still had some pretty awesome special effects in it.
Yep.
Prometheus. I don't know if I've seen that.
It's worth a watch. Maybe? John,
Yeah, I don't know.
I would recommend it once.
I think it's like it wouldn't be a bad movie to have on in the background, sort of. Like just to kind of
That's not a good review.
That's
it's
not
just
a
like
good
you wouldn't
review
really
at all.
you wouldn't really pay attention, but
Get
like
right on
you-
that, John.
they'd be doing something else, but then you just sort of watch what happens and go, oh, that's kind of interesting.
Oh, that's cool. All right, next I'm gonna make some food.
If you ever
Yeah.
like
What's
chopping
that?
carrots and you want to add to the risk of cutting your fingers, put that on in the background. So, commentary. Are you guys ready for all this stuff?
Oh yeah, because
There's-
I got nothing on this one. So.
Yeah, let's get it over with.
Let's get it over. There's a shit ton. So I'll move fast. Let's talk about it when you want to talk about it.
And you just
all
hit the
right.
highlights, yeah.
Well, yeah, there's a bunch of really cool stuff on this movie. They filmed a lot of it in Wadi Rum, which is in Jordan. It's a location where they shoot a lot of movies. They filmed Lawrence of Arabia there. They shot parts of Prometheus there. It's like a huge desert landscape. And they ended up building 2 sets of where he was on Mars, his little home base area. They built one inside of the biggest stage in the world, and that's in Budapest. They had a green screen that's 65 feet tall, going 360 degrees around the
Oh, wow.
entire set. And they covered it with 4,000 tons of like different types of like rocky material and stuff to mimic the ground in
wow.
Wadi Rum. I would even just look up a picture of the green screen set just to get an idea of it. It's freaking impressive how big this set was. And one of the,
when you describe these things, I keep thinking of this as being a massively like over budget movie.
yeah,
I'm just interested. Maybe these people just like, and maybe Ridley Scott knows how to do this. Like he's not
This
going
big
to,
budgets. Oh
he's
yeah,
not going to
for sure.
screw it up, right?
do you know what he does, TC? And you might be surprised at this. He uses 4 cameras each shot and sometimes upward of 6 cameras.
Whoa, that's insane. So they do something once, and they've got all these angles.
They do it once.
Yeah.
And if it's a good take, they use it. And like he says, instead of taking half a day to do one scene, it takes 15 minutes, and then they're done, and then they can move on to
Oh.
something else.
Huh.
Right,
Maybe that's part
right.
of like, yeah, because then
that's
then they've
and that's
got
part of why he
everything.
always has so much selection.
Yeah,
Well, and they've got, again, these are, for the most part, these are very accomplished actors, so they're probably not going to screw it up.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
these
and
these
so
are all like,
there's more good stuff about that. So a couple of the actors, I mean, all the actors had no idea what they were getting into in terms of how awesome the sets were going to be and how much practical stuff there was going to be. During the ship takeoff scene when they're blasting off of Mars in the very beginning, none of the actors knew what the set looked like when they went on the set that day. And so
Damn.
they got in their suits, they sat in the chairs, and then like one of the production designers or whoever yells like action stuff said like, bring the chairs down. And then they started like lowering the chairs, like they were automatic chairs. And then they started
Oh, wow.
yelling, here comes the blast off. And then they just start like the entire thing starts shaking. And none of the
Oh,
actors
wow.
knows this is going to happen.
Knew.
And so
They're
they're
like,
just,
what is this?
wow, that's awesome.
yeah, they said they had 6 cameras on that set with a lot of like facial close-ups and like wide shots. And they got it. Like that was it.
Wow.
That is really cool. And in this day and age, I imagine most of in a science fiction film, they're just like supposed to act with things that aren't there,
Right.
Right.
as
And
opposed
they
to
get
like,
used to it.
yeah. So this is probably the cool thing is then that it probably really took them by surprise. because they're just this doesn't happen so much anymore, right?
Yeah, it doesn't.
Right.
I mean, most people. So, Ridley Scott, he does his own storyboards and he does his own like set design. He draws and he gives it to
Oh,
people
wow.
to create stuff.
This dude, I mean,
He's something else, huh?
Yeah,
I mean, he's
something else.
yeah.
Jeez.
I mean, Prometheus was kind of crap. He's done so much.
but the design
I
of
mean-
Prometheus was awesome.
yeah,
Didn't he do Gladiator?
He did Gladiator,
Gladiator.
Oh, I
yeah.
love that
yeah.
one.
Blade Runner, Alien, Kingdom of Heaven. He's done a bunch of really good. I mean, he's been good forever, hasn't he? He never really had an off period of time.
He did Robin Hood.
Yeah,
Yeah, he does
It's
these
just-
huge budget
Yeah.
movies.
Yeah, he actually Matchstick Men was really good. That was a Nicolas Cage film.
Yeah, that was good. I saw that.
That was really good. I never saw Black Hawk Down.
that was really
Oh, that
good.
was pretty good. Yeah, that was pretty good.
He's
Another
a-
budget buster. Jesus.
He's done so much.
He
Yeah,
actually-
it's pretty amazing.
He actually is tied for 4th on this list I made of the directors of the most movies in the top 250.
Mm.
He's tied at number 4 with
Oh,
4
wow.
movies on it. He has 4 movies in the top 250.
Yeah, he's damn good, huh? He's damn good.
He is
this guy.
damn
yeah,
good,
he produced The Gray.
Oh, awesome.
yeah.
I love that movie.
Yeah, I never
Okay.
saw Pillars of the Earth, that TV miniseries. Anyway, sorry,
that's
we're
right.
just like
yeah, we're
all
going
over the
about
place.
Ridley Scott. Who doesn't matter?
Yeah, really,
Yeah.
really is the freaking man is pretty much what we're getting at.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
and yeah, go on.
So have you, I mean,
More
speaking of his other 2 sci-fi movies, Blade Runner and Alien, have you guys seen those?
Oh yeah.
Alien, but not. I don't
Well,
know
we-
if I've seen Blade Runner.
What?
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah.
TC, you're
I,
gonna
lo-
be-
I love it when you say that.
Yeah, me too.
I love that. That's so awesome. We're gonna get to. I mean, because something like Blade Runner it's the same as like Star Wars or whatever. It's like one that I've seen countless times.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, I
Um,
don't think I've seen this.
Oh,
Dude.
that's awesome.
Nah.
that's really. I hope we do that one before the new one comes out. I don't think that's gonna happen though. I think Blade Runner is
No,
pretty
we're
high
not
up
gonna.
there.
We're not gonna make it.
We're not gonna
TC,
get there.
No.
Sorry, TC. You can't see the new Blade
No,
Runner.
you can't. You have to
Yeah,
wait.
I won't. I mean, I didn't see the first one, so why would I see the second one? First, you know what I
Okay.
mean?
Yeah,
You're just gonna have to wait. But by all accounts, because it's the same guy that did Arrival, it's gonna it.
and that
I am
guy,
gonna
greatly
be
looking
good.
forward
Denny
to it.
Villeneuve,
Yeah.
has like a flawless career so far. So it's gonna be good.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, got him
Ooh.
crossed.
Yeah. So
Anyway,
James Cameron was the one who pretty much let this movie happen. The script was sent to him, and he gave the verbal okay to Fox, the production company at Fox.
Oh.
And his only note was that the storm in the beginning wouldn't happen. That was his only note in the entire thing.
Wow.
So James Cameron, he knew, like he knows what Mars is like somehow.
That's funny.
Yeah,
Well, he's meticulous. I
yeah.
think.
I mean, he's
I mean,
probably
that's-
thought about making a movie on Mars before. I have to assume.
Maybe so.
Yeah, maybe so.
Yeah.
Maybe so.
That's funny.
So the book deal.
I'm,
Sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry. It's just like I'm James Cameron. That wouldn't happen.
Yeah,
That wouldn't happen.
I'm James Cameron.
Dude,
Make
I
this
know.
movie. Okay, James. Everything you've said has been correct. We're going to keep listening to you.
That's awesome.
Right?
The book deal with Andy Weir and the movie deal with Ridley, or actually, it wasn't Ridley Scott. It was Drew Goddard who wrote the screenplay and was set to direct. But anyway, the book deal and the movie deal were made 4 days apart,
Wow.
which is crazy. And like the guy who wrote it, Andy Weir, was in disbelief for almost a year about any of this actually happening. So he kept his day job until they're like, "Dude, we're starting filming. Like you can quit."
You can quit your
Yeah.
day job now. Yeah.
Wow.
I'm not
What was
lying
his-
to you.
What was his day job?
Yeah.
He worked in programming somehow.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Well, see, so he knew all that stuff. All that
Uh,
backdoor thing.
He did, yeah. He did
so
this.
he's jumping over the code, no problem.
He jumps the code. Maybe that is a term,
Jumping code.
but
Maybe, I
it
don't know.
sounded pretty dumb to someone who doesn't know anything about code.
Yeah, that's funny though.
Oh, Drew, the guy who wrote The Martian also wrote The Cabin in the Woods.
That was a good movie.
That was fun. That was a really, I don't know if you haven't seen that, TC. It's a really fun movie to watch.
No, I don't think so.
One thing they said about the production, like the pre-production of this movie, every single person they wanted signed on. Like Drew Goddard at the time was considered the go-to screenwriter adapter person.
Oh,
Wow.
okay.
He's like, yeah, I'll do it.
And Ridley Scott is obviously the number one choice for a sci-fi.
Yeah.
Matt
Right.
Damon is,
That was their number one choice too right away. They wanted Matt Damon to do it.
yeah. And Matt Damon was on board like 90%. just because he loved the book so much. And then Ridley Scott signed on, and Matt Damon was like, "Yep."
You know, I guess I wonder if they thought. I mean, because Will Smith would have been another. Again, he hasn't been doing great lately, but he would. You're thinking of like what would be like a huge box office draw as far as like a leading man.
Yeah. Does he have that anymore? He used to.
Yeah, I don't know if he has it anymore. I don't know. He used to be like number one, right?
Yeah.
By a long way, I think.
Like Men in Black and Independence Day days.
Yeah.
He was the thing.
He was it.
He could in his prime. He could have done it too. He would also been able to do the humor part, I think.
Yeah.
But
he's quippy, successfully quippy.
He's quippy.
He's quippy.
So in the book, all of his talking, like most of the dialogue in the movie was his inner monologue, and the idea to talk to the GoPros in the ship was a design choice that was the number one, the hardest one they had to figure out because it was the most necessary to the driving of the dialogue written in the book.
They had to do something like that because otherwise you got to know what he's thinking, and there's no other way to do it unless you want to make him some weirdo who talks to himself
or a voiceover, which would have been bad too.
Oh yeah, voiceover.
Yeah, that would
bad.
have been horrible.
Yeah,
no, that was a good idea.
Ridley Scott says that's funny. I wonder if somebody was like pushing a voiceover because they in the original theatrical release of Blade Runner, they had this really cheesy narration because they were worried the audience wouldn't understand. Right, I agree. I believe he didn't want that. Right,
the studio made him do it because they thought it was too confusing without someone telling them what was going on.
Yeah. So So I wonder if he was like, no, screw you guys, no narration. We're gonna figure out some other way.
That's funny. Yeah, he didn't mention that in the commentary, but I'm sure that's on his mind.
Right. I'm sure he knew right away. It's like, narration doesn't work.
Yeah.
So we got to have another way to do it. Because imagine how cheesy this would have been with narration.
Oh,
so
boy.
It's like
I was really scared. And the quips wouldn't have worked in his head. No one tells jokes to themselves in their head, do they?
I'm sure they kind of thought about it though, because they end with him teaching the class, right? So it could have been like they could have like thought about doing
Forrest Gumped it.
As,
they could have Forrest Gumped it.
Yeah,
they could have. That might have worked actually.
Could have.
But I mean, it also
been interesting.
Did this? So this really did work. But if you think about who is he talking to? Nobody, right?
Well, the people back at NASA who will watch the logs later, maybe.
Supposedly, yeah. These. I mean, you start with the logs, but I mean, you also think at some point that's a definite survival mechanism for him that he's just going to start being chatty. And it helps to.
But he starts doing it
somebody.
immediately. It's not like he goes along by himself for a little bit and he's like, "I'm really lonely," and then starts doing it.
It was almost like you were led to believe that they do that on a regular basis.
Right,
anyway.
right. So that might be like that's what you do, like when you're the commander, probably.
Yeah.
I don't know. Captain's log, stardate, blah blah blah. So that's what they did in Star Trek.
That's just what they did in Star Trek.
I mean, that's what they tried to do. There wasn't there that whole in real life mission to Mars where it was a reality TV show and people signed up for it. Did you guys hear about that?
I didn't know about that.
No.
To help fund the mission to Mars, they were going to make it into a reality TV show, so everybody would watch that, and it would fund part of the mission.
And
that's weird.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that was actually a realistic idea, but it was something that was floating around a couple years ago.
Wow, reality TV meets science fiction. That's awesome. So
you're
gonna have some like I don't know who the guy is that's like, this is not interesting enough. We need more conflict. All right, look you. Let's see. What are we gonna do? We're gonna just shut off the power to half the ship.
We're gonna keep pumping the oxygen at 70% and see what happens.
Hey, Tom, kill Sarah. Okay, kill Sarah.
Or at least let's just start. Like
there's no
she's
rules up there,
really,
guys.
really self-conscious about her weight. So could you just say something?
Hey,
let's just get this started.
She's got a big butt. Hey, tell she's got a fat butt. Yeah, just do it. Promise me. It'll work. It'll work. In her log, she says that she hates when people say that. So just say it.
Is that how reality TV works?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure that like you've got to be like you've got to have like conflict and drama.
Oh yeah,
and
they
things
set
like
a bunch
that, right?
of stuff up. They may not write everything down when they're doing, but they definitely go, okay, at this point, this is when you start to get mad at this person. So figure it out.
Yeah.
And then they probably do get a little pissed, and then they start coming out with shit that they know is going to piss the person. You know what I mean? They start playing it up, and then things do happen.
Then you do get mad, and then
you do get mad, and then it's and then there's your drama. And boom, we got 45 minutes. Fill it.
I got two things that were Ridley Scott touches that were changes from the book.
Okay.
One of them was the scene where they learned the storm was coming, they weren't outside doing collecting samples. They were at the breakfast table. And Ridley didn't want to do it because that's the scene from Alien when the alien pops out of the person's chest.
Right.
Oh, wow.
So he didn't want to do that again. So he changed it up.
I think that makes sense. That would be like it's interesting. I mean, that's the thing that Alien does so well is like just try to like make it seem like this is like normal life,
right?
About the crew and things like that, and then have like the alien comes and disturbs it. So it's really interesting for him to be thinking like, I can't do that again.
Well, he has like a legacy.
Right.
Like that's his most well-known movie, I would assume.
Right. So, but that's interesting for him to be like, let's not do a breakfast scene, right? Because let's
constantly on his mind.
Yeah.
The other one
That's
was
funny.
kind of I don't know which one it would be like, but the crane in the back of the Mars rover thing, that was his addition. Like in the book, he would just push the devices he's getting with it up ramps and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Ridley Scott might have dropped a secret in the commentary. He said that Matt Damon is going to direct very soon.
He did, and then he
Ooh.
tried, remember? And then he gave up.
Did he?
Yeah.
What'd he do?
He said something like that when it was a premiere at the Manchester thing. He's like, and then I realized I'm not supposed to be a director. I'm supposed to be a producer or an actor. And like he makes fun of, because I think it was like talking about like a guy like Kenneth Lonergan and being like, I can't do this.
Oh.
And he was going to
that's
try and
interesting.
do that, and he was going to become a director, but I don't think he's going to. I think he's changed his mind because he's not.
Oh.
I mean, I don't know. You know how I think it's really hard to be a good director, and you're on like it's going to be hard to sit there and direct and then not want to tell people what to do for their acting, and you know what I'm saying, like all this other stuff.
Yeah.
Like a guy like Ridley Scott, Kenneth, they're all separate. They're just directors. They're not.
Yeah, it's interesting. I
anything
mean, but
else.
there are people that again they made that transition. Like Clint Eastwood or
Yeah, of course.
right. But
course.
that's interesting. Yeah, if you look at his IMDb page, there's not a single director credit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
No.
think he tried. I mean, he might have
He's
started
produced
something
stuff.
up, but he never directed anything. So he
Yeah,
probably
right.
just quit before.
He's probably like, wait, this isn't for me.
He helped produce Manchester by the Sea.
Yeah, no, he did. Yeah.
Yeah.
But who knows? He also could be saying that, and then all of a sudden there's some thing,
Yeah.
where he's playing it off, and then little do we know, he's already halfway into production or something.
Yeah.
Who knows?
That's
It's
probably
LA.
true.
They come up with shit all the time like that. But that's kind of funny. I mean, Matt Damon directing. I don't know.
It might
Seems
be good.
a bit weird.
I mean, it's kind of hard you can't judge by how good someone's going to be as a director by how good their acting skills are, right?
No. I
No,
think that it's yeah.
no.
I mean, again, you'd say like they probably know a lot about movies, right?
Yes.
Given all the different people that they've worked with or whatever, like they get to see a lot of good directors in action.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So maybe some people can really pick up on that and
That's true.
and sort of learn from that. But
Just copy
But other
Ridley
than
Scott. That's his plan.
yeah, well, I know, but at the same time, I think that there's again, depending, I don't know how you do it, but just the amount of meticulousness and the ordering people around but in a way so they don't hate you, and yeah, just having such a like very specific vision. I think that's a very
that's
challenging
tough.
thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
for
it's probably
sure.
easier too for Ridley because he already has a reputation and people just trust what he says. So he.
Oh
probably,
yeah,
like,
right. No kidding. What are
Yeah.
you going to argue with Ridley Scott? No,
Yeah.
I think it should be this way.
Yeah.
Look, I'm Ridley Scott. Like, who are you?
Like, yeah,
are you James
back
Cameron? If
Are you
you're not
James
James Cameron,
Or Spielberg.
right?
Or, you
Yeah.
can go screw.
Yeah. There's not an actor that should be saying no to anything Ridley Scott
Right.
is saying.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
I wonder if like James Cameron and Ridley Scott are friends at all. You think they probably share ideas?
I don't know.
I don't
Because
know.
like so Ridley Scott did Alien, James Cameron did Aliens.
Aliens, right?
They might have
Aliens.
had some collaborative effort there.
We've got both are on our list, right? Aliens.
They both are, yes.
Yeah.
And we can
Oh,
find out by
interesting.
then. So
Those are messed up movies
Yep.
Yeah.
from younger years. But all right, so
So-
I mean, these are good trivia.
So yeah, I'll go quicker. Donald Glover's fall when he like in his first scene was a mistake apparently, and he just
Oh.
like stayed in character.
and he just went with it.
Yeah, he slipped in the
That's
coffee
funny.
that he spit onto the ground because that was
Wow,
4 cameras same take. There was wet stuff on the ground.
All right.
that's funny.
Yeah. Ridley Scott hates to fly. He does meetings over Skype as often as possible.
That makes sense.
Does it? He does science
Yeah.
fiction movies about space.
So
he's afraid to fly. I don't know. It seems kind of weird.
It just must be tough for his career because, I mean, he's got to go to locations and things like that a lot. So that must be
that's
kind of
true.
tough.
Yeah. So, but he just probably leaves it to those moments where he absolutely has to do it, and the rest of the time he just takes a call wherever he is,
and just drugs the hell out of himself so he can just pass out.
Xanax for the night. Yeah. And they're not flying in some regular airplane. It's some nice private jet too. So
yeah,
it's just him in there conked out. I bet. I mean, I would do that. So
yeah, I would too. The line, it has been 7 days since I ran out of ketchup, was ad-libbed by Matt Damon.
That was funny. Did you like that? I like that one. I like that one.
I like that one too.
I did. So I got two things on this one, John and DC.
Right.
So I thought it was funny, but then it made me think why he had so much ketchup when he ran out of the food they brought with them so long ago. You know what I mean?
Well, he might have rationed it, but you think of ketchup.
No,
it's
he didn't.
Right.
You saw him squirt. He dumped ketchup on his potatoes.
That's true.
Ketchup,
And he had a bunch of food. A lot of it didn't need ketchup. They had like sweet and sour chicken and stuff. They're not putting ketchup on everything. Why do they have ketchup to last 100 days past the food they brought?
Well, all right.
I don't know.
You might. I don't know. They might have had like just a set for condiments, right? Ketchup is like a universal sort of thing that you'd put on a lot of stuff.
Yeah, but would you fill up volume in a spaceship with a bunch of ketchup?
I don't know.
I don't know either. It was just
Probably
Would it be Heinz ketchup?
I didn't want to. It's a good point. I just thought it was a great sequence where it's like I'm going to dip this potato in Vicodin and nobody can stop me. and then he follows that up with because I'm out of ketchup.
I'm out of ketchup. I thought that was thing, he's dipping it in Vicodin, guys. It's not.
that was probably the comedy highlight of the film.
Yeah, that was pretty great. Yeah.
So when you run out of ketchup, all you want to do is take Vicodin. That's the point.
Yeah, gives it a nice metallic little sting on your tongue.
Ugh.
There was a plot point they took out but kept in a little bit. So the whole deal with China coming into the plot and offering them their new launcher technology, whatever.
Right.
They wrote in the book and shot a scene where China did a trade with them to, if they lent them this technology, then for the next man to Mars mission that the United States was doing, they would allow one Chinese astronaut to go with them.
Oh,
and you see that Chinese astronaut in the credit scene where they're doing like the compilation of everybody and what they're doing after.
Right.
And he's sitting next to Michael Pena's character in the ship about to go up.
Who I assume Pena's the commander now or something is what I was assuming. But
yeah, he was he? Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, I would assume it because he's going back. But I think that's fine. That's like a great way to cut out like a good strategic cut where it's like that you can wonder what that. Yeah. You don't need to necessarily see all those negotiations and stuff because they show a lot in the movie in terms of like the plot moving from one point to the next.
Yeah.
But yeah, and they're very quick. It's like, and then this happened. And they're very efficient, it seems, in terms of like moving the story along.
Yeah. A lot of the or all of the CG Mars stuff was based on real Mars locations.
So would they take it from photos or something?
They took it from photos, and then mapped it out to like
cool.
Prettier CG stuff.
Right.
Mm-hmm. A real spacesuit takes 2 people an hour and a half to put it on.
Oh my God.
So they had to
so all those
cut some
shots
corners
where they're
there.
coming in and out of them, it's like kind of a joke.
Yeah, there's the one where Jessica Chastain like jumps into it and like pulls it down and snaps it on. Well,
they have this like supposedly again in the future now they have this whole automated system for how the suit gets put on you, right? Like it's like a
bat suit
there was like this hydraulic sort of thing that it was like, yeah. So that was kind of like what they were showing a little bit, but yeah, that would really slow down the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Waiting for him to put on the thing.
They got the spacesuit on and the credits roll.
Yeah. It's all the time we got, folks.
I hope you enjoyed. They recorded and mixed all the music at the Abbey Road studio.
Oh, wow.
Which seems to be, I think that's probably the most famous studio in the world, at least as far as I know.
It's the Beatles.
It's the Beatles one. Ridley Scott saw 2001 Space Odyssey 1 week after it came out, and it made him want to do science fiction movies.
Oh, that was his oh, wow.
So it made him do Alien, it made him do Blade Runner, it made him do this one. And there's a lot of 2001. Well, you would think a lot of 2001 would influence this movie, especially with the main spaceship design. But actually, that spaceship design was taken from like actual NASA plans of what type of spaceship would be able to survive interplanetary travel.
Yeah, I'm excited for
Wow.
when we watch that one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That'll be any of the Kubrick films are going to be a lot.
Oh
of fun.
yeah, that would be great.
Yeah. All the weightless. If you guys were to guess how the weightlessness was done with this, could you tell how it was done?
No.
No,
It was done all with wires and
I
giant.
it figured as much.
Yeah, I mean, like in Apollo 13, they actually did the vomit comet stuff. You remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I don't remember the Apollo 13. They actually filmed the shots like while people were like
weightless for
going.
real.
Yeah.
They built
Wow.
sets. So they had this thing called the vomit comet, which is like a spaceship, or like it looks like a spaceship. It goes like, really high up in the air, and then it free falls for like, I don't know, like 3 minutes or something like that, like a short period of time. And you're completely weightless for that. And they built sets inside that thing and filmed. That's how they filmed Apollo
Holy
13.
Christ.
So
That's sketchy as hell. Like,
Yeah.
okay, we're going. Shoot.
and they're
Action.
actors.
That would be so hard.
Like Tom Hanks and Ed Harris are actors. They're not freaking, astronauts. So they were vomiting like the entire time. So that must have
Wow.
sucked. But so whenever I watch a movie, now that they did that way, it's kind of hard to tell like how exactly are they doing the weightlessness. But they did it all with wires in this one. I thought they did a pretty awesome job. It looked
Yeah, you couldn't
convincing
see
as
him.
hell. Yeah, and they had like huge hydraulics above this set and stuff. There's a lot of cool footage of behind the scenes on the Blu-ray and stuff. If you're interested,
Damn.
they had a lot of arguments about whether they were going to use the term acceleration or deceleration when they were talking about blasting the door open and slowing the ship down. And the argument was about how it doesn't matter because you're in space, but they had to
Oh.
decide on one, because it's all relative. And if you're in space, then you're not. You're just going, force in one direction. It's not accelerating or decelerating.
I see.
So I thought that was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
They really thought about the science.
I guess
uh,
so.
The book made fun of how at the end of the movie when they saved him, how if it were a movie, then there would be a bunch of people cheering around the world. And the screenwriter said, fuck that. I'm just going to show that in the movie. So pretty much taking the middle finger the book had and ignoring it and making it anyway.
Wow.
I even liked that though. I actually thought that was, and it would, to some extent, it would happen. I mean, if
Yeah.
people had that information, I'm not, I think if they were able to do this sort of live broadcast stuff, which do they really do that?
I don't think so. I mean, they might if this was happening, right? If that,
I mean, you can, when you see like missions and stuff like that, when stuff is landing, they broadcast that stuff, I mean, we haven't had a manned mission for a while, so I'm not sure what they would do or not do, but that's always like live, when stuff is happening, we've been hearing it.
yeah.
So even when the launches go, when the Challenger disaster or what have you, all of that was like, commented on immediately.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to tell because the manned space missions these days are kind of run of the mill because they're doing the same thing. They're kind of just flying up to the space stations. They're not, exploring new territories and
New
stuff. So it's
things,
harder to
yeah.
get excited about.
Going on like a 5-year mission.
Right.
That
yeah.
kind of thing. They're not doing. Yeah.
I mean, it's still cool, obviously, but
Absolutely.
it's not as cool as when it was new because humans get bored very easily, myself
True.
included.
Right.
Only a couple more pieces of trivia. They actually built a rover and they filmed a lot of the driving the rover scenes around in that place in Jordan. So those were all real and they just filtered.
Because that looked good. It
Yeah.
looked really good. Like the rover scenes looked, yeah.
Yeah, there was one shot where the sand looked like it was shining in the sun. It was really pretty.
Yeah, I thought the cinematography, again, the movie didn't linger on much. But it felt like it gave you a good sense of the place.
Yeah.
Like it let you, I don't know. I think this movie is like, the pacing of it. I don't know how to say this. Like the way that the movie moves and yet still feels like it takes its time, but doesn't feel either too slow or rushed. It feels like it feels perfect as far as how it's paced. And maybe that's just Ridley Scott's doing.
Yeah. I mean, it could also be because Matt Damon is in the same spot the entire movie, but he's constantly making progress towards his own rescue.
Right. So maybe that just naturally works, right? Too.
Yeah.
You have a pretty easy character arc in a lot of ways, or not a character arc, but you have a pretty easy story to tell. Like one thing happens right after the next.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's done, again, it's just done so well as far as giving you this real sense of Mars, but not spending too long doing that. And at the same time, keeping things moving forward.
Yeah. And so the last piece of trivia I have, the suits they built were pretty thick. They said they were very thick wetsuits. And they had an air blower backpack on that blew air into their helmet. And then they had t-shirts they built that kind of had a grid of cold water that ran underneath the suit along their chest and legs because they filmed like all day, outside in the Jordan desert and all that good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's all I have. That was a lot.
That was a lot.
Yeah. I hope with the other Ridley Scott movies, there's as much information because it was pretty interesting to
I wish
watch.
if I had time, I would have been interested in doing the commentaries because it sounds like it was pretty neat. Was Ridley himself doing the commentary?
It was split. So they recorded it in two different places and kind of like edited the commentaries together. Ridley Scott did it by himself, and then Drew Goddard and Andy Weir kind of were in the same room together.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
That's cool.
How did Andy come across?
He came across as a very humble and nice guy that kind of, he seems like he feels like he got lucky. So he's very appreciative of all this stuff, which is always the best way you could,
Oh, it is.
Some of
And
them
again, it's a great story. Like, total success for this guy. And it's pretty neat.
Yeah. So top 250, TC. What do you think? Yes.
Oh,
John.
Yep. But I feel a little shamed about it, but yes.
Yes.
I don't.
Good.
No
Good,
shame.
TC.
TC, no shame. John, little shame. I'm gonna go no. I think the humor kind of brought it down enough for me.
Okay.
Where I kind of
I could see that. I could see that.
I really did like it. I wish I liked it. I really, really wish I liked it more is kind of the thing. And that feeling is not good, if like one thing was different. And it's just my personal opinion. It just sucks that I wish I enjoyed it more than I did, which was still a lot, but whatever. There are more movies out there.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have much to say, so I don't know how much I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, I think
I liked. I mean, I liked watching it enough.
Ringing endorsement from TC.
Yeah. I liked watching it enough though, where like the story's cool.
Yeah,
like the actual idea of it is great, and there's not too many movies out there. Did that.
And isn't it nice to have a movie where it's you feel like you can trust it and you're not like, I don't know what is true about any of this stuff. Like this movie you can watch and you're like, all of this is true. Like this is the way it would be. Except the storm. That's it. But
But no, I think that I mean, again, just in addition to the propaganda parts, this is like, this is a master doing what he's very comfortable doing.
Yeah, like it's just like a gladiator type of thing, since it's Ridley, obviously that's what I got. But it's good production, good, everything's good. Yeah. So it's hard to hate it, and it's easy to put on the list.
Yeah.
Of 250 movies.
250. I'm interested to see where it'll fit on your top 5 of the bottom 50 of this top 250. Is that a confusing sentence?
Yeah, that was very confusing. I was like, I have no idea what you're even talking about.
Let me rephrase that. The top 5 you'll have of these first 50 movies when we get to 200. I'm curious to see if this will land on there for you guys.
I got to start taking more data because I don't even.
Data.
By the time we get through 50, I'll be like, I don't remember the first one.
Wait, what? We watched 50?
Was that?
That's all right. Don't worry. We've got the list on the website. TC, you can go back.
You can follow us along.
Yep.
All right, so TC, you can email us at mission250filmcast@gmail.com. You can go to mission250filmcast.com. We have a list there. It's very helpful if you want to follow
We've got
along.
a podcast, TC, if you'd like to listen. You can subscribe and you can rate us.
The next movie, number 233.
This is going to be a good one.
The Steven Spielberg movie. First one from
Catch
him.
Me.
Catch
Our
Me
first-
if you can. 2002.
This will be fun. I saw it a long time ago.
Yeah, me too.
They only vaguely remember it, so it should be fun.
It's got an amazing cast.
I remember it pretty well.
It's the true story. Oh man, there's a lot of true stories in this list. The true story of Frank Abagnale Jr. So we get to do a lot more research to see how full of shit this movie is.
These people are.
What sacrifices were made for our entertainment?
Yeah.
Right.
How has history been skewed because of our lack?
So this one we need
of
to do
interest.
some research because they're claiming.
They're claiming
Yeah.
this guy
All
existed, and I from what I remember of the movie, it is all pretty fantastical and fairly unbelievable. All the stuff that he gets away with.
Right.
Yeah,
So
he
this
does
will
get
be
away
kind
with
of
some
fun.
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was the whole point, right? That's why this guy had a
That's
movie
why it's a
made
story.
about him.
But who
Yeah,
knows?
right.
Maybe he did maybe he forged one check and then they made the rest of it up. Who knows? We'll figure it out.
Yeah, right. Forged a check.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I can do that. I'm gonna go do that right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet. All right. Well, hey, yeah, that's it. Check us out. Follow the list, rate and subscribe. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, guys.
Till next week.
Hey, you know what? We didn't have that guy last week.
Oh, we didn't?
We didn't.
We were too upset about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
And he doesn't like kung fu movies either. He just didn't show up.
No.
Nah.
TC, well,
Okay, I'll
you
keep that
broke
one
the
in.
running bit. Oh,
It's
well.
all right.
It's all right.
Oh, well.
It's good.
He'll
It'll be
be
good.
back. He'll be back.
It'll be back. He'll focus
John
it every once
Johnny.
in a while. Yeah. Okay.
All right.
All right, guys.
All right,
Till next
guys.
week.
Yeah. Take care, guys.
Bye.